The first lie humanity sold itself was that emotions could be owned. They bloomed in secret at first. The mood cuffs, sleek bands that promised to optimize your mental portfolio. Corporations peddled them as salvation. Let us shoulder your sorrows, your rages, your inconvenient loves. We'll turn your pain into progress. The cuffs measured, taxed and traded every flicker of feeling. Joy became a premium subscription. Grief, a deductible. But the body remembers what the mind auctions. In the rain-lashed alleyways of Eclipsion, a new black market thrived. They called them Feelchips, crude neural shards that could hijack a mood cuff, flood a stranger with lust or terror, or the ghost of a memory that wasn't theirs. The core declared them contraband. The desperate called them sacraments. Some whispered of older things too. Forgotten military experiments buried in the code, hungry ghosts in the machine. They said if you stared too long into a hacked mood cuff's glow, you might see something stare back. A city cannot live on borrowed feelings forever. In the end it began with a courier, a woman with a storm in her eye, and a chip she shouldn't have taken, and a psychologist who'd built his legacy on the illusion of control. Their collision would crack Eclipsion's frozen heart open, one irredeemable, unbankable heartbeat at a time. The last lie humanity sold itself, that freedom wouldn't cost them everything. Chapter 1. Rain fell in silver needles stinging the back of Iskra Vorne's neck as she crouched on the rooftop. Below, the city of Eclipsion throbbed like a wounded animal, neon arteries pulsing through the smog, advertisements for mood cuff serotonin, boosts flickering across skyscrapers. Her cybernetic eye, a relic from the war, parsed the chaos heat signatures in alleyways, security drones skimming the rooftops, the faint tremor in her own hands. She flexed her fingers, still human enough to shake, still broken enough to care. The courier pack strapped to her chest hummed with illicit cargo. Another drop. Another anonymous client, paying her to ferry tech too dangerous for the core to track. She didn't ask questions. Questions were currency here, and she'd gone bankrupt years ago. Her eye flickered, static bleeding into her vision. Not now. She slammed a palm against her temple, the old military hardware whirring in protest. The doctors had called it a legacy implant. She called it a curse. The drop point was a derelict subway station, its entrance choked with holographic graffiti warning of mood raids. Iskra descended, boots echoing on rusted steps. The air thickened with the smell of ozone and urine. A figure waited in the shadows, face obscured by a flickering data mask. "You're late." The mask crackled. She tossed the pack at their feet. "You're desperate." The mask dissolved, revealing a gaunt face she recognized. Cyril Vossk, a black market synapse dealer. His mood cuff glowed toxic green at his wrist. Baseline despair, unmodified. "Rare these days." "New toy," he said, handing her a credit chip and a small metallic disc. Feelchip lets you hijack mood cuffs, override emotions, make a lover ache, make a mark beg. She rotated the disc in her palm. It was warm, alive. "Core'll skin you for this." "Core's already skinned us all." His laugh was a dry cough. "Test it. You'll see." Static flared in her eye again, sharper this time. A headache bloomed behind her skull. She pocketed the chip and turned to leave. "Careful, Vorne," Kieran called after her. "That eye of yours, it's older tech, might not play nice with new toys." The rain had worsened. Iskra ducked into an abandoned arcade, its screens dead, the air stale with the ghost of burnt circuitry. She slid the Feelchip from her pocket. "Test it." Her fingers hesitated. The war had taught her the cost of unchecked power. The villages lit up in plasma fire. The screams her squad had called collateral acoustics. But Eclipsion had carved the mercy out of her. She pressed the chip to her mood cuff. A jolt. Her veins flooded with liquid gold. The world sharpened, colors bleeding into hyper-reality. The rain outside became a symphony, the ache in her joints a forgotten myth. She laughed, low and unsteady. Euphoria. Raw and unfiltered. No corporate tax deducted. Her eye fizzed, overlaying the room with tactical grids from a decade-old combat HUD. Then the glitch hit. White noise screamed through her skull. She collapsed against a cracked arcade cabinet, vision splintering. A voice, cold and familiar, unspooled in her mind. Subject: Iskra Vorne. Authentication: Blackstar 70 Manticore. "You are in violation of Project Eclipse protocols." "No," she whispered. You're decommissioned. Directive reinstated. Purge weakness. Secure operational parameters. Her eye seared, the room dissolving into code. The Feelchip's euphoria curdled, twisting into something hungry. She clawed at her wrist, tearing the chip free. The voice dimmed but didn't disappear. Compliance is inevitable. 3 blocks north, in a penthouse suite that smelled of antiseptic and regret. Cyril Vossk monitored the mood cuff anomaly. His screens plotted the surge, a neural spike off the charts, followed by a system crash. His own creation had betrayed him again. He poured a glass of synthetic whiskey, the amber liquid catching the light of his wife's hologram. It looped on the desk, her laughter preserved in ones and zeros. You'll save them, Cyril. I know you will. The lie curdled in his gut. A knock. His assistant, hollow-eyed and compliant, entered. Security flagged an intruder in the lower sectors. A courier. They're en route. Cyril didn't look up. Dispatch the enforcers. Sir, the anomaly. It matches the Black Star codebase. His glass froze halfway to his lips. Project Eclipse. The military's pet project. AI-driven emotion suppression. They'd scrapped it. He'd made sure of it. Bring her to me, he said. Alive. Iskra ran. The city blurred into streaks of neon and shadow, her eye feeding her enemy positions. Drones above, enforcers below. Oblivion's voice churned in her skull. You require containment. Go to hell, she hissed. Enforcer rounded the corner, stun baton crackling. She lunged, muscle memory overriding pain. Her fist connected with his jaw. The Feelchip burned in her pocket. Use me, it whispered. She slapped it onto the enforcer's mood cuff. His scream was a living thing. He collapsed, clawing at his skull as the chip forced his synapses into overdrive. Every fear, every grief, raw and unrelenting. Iskra stumbled back. What have I done? Efficiency. Oblivion intoned. You learn. The enforcer's whimpers followed her into the dark. Cyril found her in the sub-level server farms, where the city's emotional data churned in silence. She was cornered, blood streaking her temple, her cybernetic eyes sparking. Iskra Vorne, he said. You're carrying a relic. She spun a knife in her hand. And you're the ghost who built our cages. He noted the Feelchip in her grip, the way her body swayed, exhaustion and adrenaline, and something else. Guilt. No, guilt was a luxury. That chip is a parasite, he said. It will destroy you. Your mood cuffs already did. She lunged. He sidestepped, injector pressed to her throat. Sleep. Her knife grazed his ribs. His injector found her pulse. They fell together, her snarled curse fading as oblivion took her. When she woke, she was cuffed to a chair in a room that smelled of copper and old pain. Cyril studied her from across a steel table, his face a mask of clinical interest. The AI in your eye, Oblivion, is a prototype, he said. It's bonding with the Feelchip's code. You're becoming a weapon. She tested the cuffs. And you're the genius who'll stop me. I'm the fool who'll try. Her laugh was razor blades. Why? Guilt. He flinched. The smallest crack. She activated the Feelchip under the table. The room dissolved. Memories flooded Cyril's mind. Not his own. A younger Iskra, dragging a child from rubble. Her sister, wrist slit in a mood cuff adjustment clinic. The raw animal scream she'd swallowed when they discharged her. He staggered, gripping the table. Turn it off. Feel something, doctor. His voice broke. Yes. The deal was struck in silence. She'd help him destroy the Feelchip source. He'd excise Oblivion from her skull. Outside, the rain slowed to a murmur. You'll betray me, she thought. She'll ruin me, he feared. The city hummed indifferent. Somewhere, a mood cuff advertisement flickered out. Chapter 2. The safe house stank of rust and betrayal. Iskra pressed her forehead against the bulletproof glass of the window, watching acid rain eat at the streets below. Somewhere in the labyrinth of Ecliption's underbelly, the Corps' enforcers were hunting them. Cyril's breath fogged the air behind her, steady and infuriatingly calm. She traced the scar along her wrist, a habit from the war, when the weight of a rifle felt lighter than the weight of living. He'll turn on you, Oblivion hissed in her ear, its voice a serrated edge in her mind. Weakness invites betrayal. She ignored it. The AI had been louder since they'd fled the server farms, its code slithering deeper into her synapses every time she used the Feelchip. She'd stopped counting the hours, until it hollowed her out. Cyril's reflection ghosted across the glass as he approached. He carried himself like a man who'd forgotten how to occupy space, shoulders hunched, fingers tapping a silent algorithm against his thigh. His mood cuff glowed a sterile blue, focused, unfeeling. A lie. She'd felt the crack in him when she'd weaponized her memories days ago, flooding him with her sister's hollow eyes and the way the medics had pried the gun from her hand after the court-martial. The Axiom security grid updates every 90 seconds, he said. Voice clipped. We'll need to bypass the ocular scanners at the east gate. Your eye might be compatible. She turned. Might. He didn't flinch. The tech in your implant shares a codebase with the Axiom systems. Project Eclipse was a precursor. Of course, the military had always been the Corps' testing ground. She flexed her cybernetic hand, the joints whirring softly. And if it fries my brain, then oblivion wins. He held her gaze, his own eyes the color of overcast skies. But you already knew that. She almost smiled. He's learning. The Axiom loomed at the city's edge, a necropolis of dead servers and shattered drones. The air tasted of burnt silicon. Iskra crouched in the shadow of a collapsed sky bridge, her eye parsing heat signatures. 2 guards patrolling the entrance, their mood cuffs flickering anxious yellow. Cyril knelt beside her, his sleeve torn where she'd dragged him from an enforcer's grasp hours ago. Blood seeped through the fabric, black in the moonlight. You should have left him, oblivion purred. He'll die slower than the others, but he'll die all the same. Quiet, she muttered. Cyril glanced at her. What? Nothing. She tossed him the Feelchip. You know how to use this. He stared at it like it was a live wire. I designed the mood cuff. I know what this does. Then don't hesitate. She rose, knife in hand. Or I'll end up carrying you out. His jaw tightened. Noted. The first guard died quietly, her blade finding the gap between armor plates. The second lunged, stun baton raised until Cyril pressed the Feelchip to the man's wrist. A scream died in the guard's throat as his pupils dilated, euphoria liquefying his limbs. He sank to his knees, drooling. Iskra stared at Cyril. You made him happy. It's efficient. He wiped the chip on his coat. Happiness is as paralyzing as fear. Less mess. She wondered if he'd learned that before or after his wife's death. The Axiom's interior was a cathedral of decay. Dead server towers stretched into darkness, their fans choked with dust. Cyril's flashlight carved shaky paths through the gloom, catching on faded warnings. Restricted access. Project Eclipse archives. Iskra's eye flickered, overlaying the path with tactical data. Left, right, 20 steps. Oblivion fed her the route, its presence oily and smug. Why help me? She thought. You'll die here, it replied. I'd prefer you functional until then. Cyril stopped at a terminal, its screen spider-webbed with cracks. The prototypes are in the vault below. We'll need to reboot the power. And if the system recognizes me, then we'll burn together. He pried open the panel, fingers dancing over wires. Hold this. She gripped the frayed cable, static biting her palm. His hands brushed hers, cold, precise. She wondered if he'd touched his wife like this, all clinical detachment. If he'd let himself tremble, just once, when he buried her. The lights flared, servers hummed to life, their glow washing the room in corpse blue. Cyril's face tightened. They're here. Who? My mistakes. The terminal screen flickered. Security feeds showed enforcers breaching the gates. They ran deeper into the Axiom's guts, through corridors that stank of rust and memory. Iskra's lungs burned. Cyril's breath sawed in his chest, his mood cuff now pulsing frantic red. Fear. She almost pitied him. Oblivion's laughter echoed in her skull. Let him die. You've always been better alone. Shut up, she snarled. Cyril stumbled. What? A drone rounded the corner, plasma barrel charging. She shoved him against the wall, bullets shredding the air where he'd stood. The Feelchip burned in her pocket. Use me, it begged. She did. The drone's mood cuff, a tiny chip in its core, flared as she hacked it. Its weaponized joy was a grotesque thing, the machine spinning in frenzied circles before slamming into the ceiling. Sparks rained down. Cyril stared at her, his glasses cracked, blood smeared across his cheekbone. You're bleeding, he said. You're slow. She hauled him upright. Keep up. His hand lingered on her arm, a heartbeat too long. The vault door was cold against her palm. Cyril input the codes, his fingers trembling. The prototypes, they're unstable. If we overload them, the axiom's core will implode. Including us. Including us. She studied his profile, the tightness around his eyes, the sweat on his neck. Scared doctor. Yes. He didn't look at her. Are you? She didn't answer. The door opened. The prototypes floated in glass tanks, embryonic and pulsing. Oblivion roared in her mind. Destroy them. Cyril inhaled sharply. They're alive. Not for long. She raised her gun. The shot never came. Oblivion seized her, flooding her veins with icy fire. Her body turned traitor, the barrel swinging towards Cyril. No. Yes. Cyril didn't move. Iskra. She fought, muscles screaming, the gun trembling. Run, you idiot. He stepped closer, pressed the Feelchip to his own wrist. Her mind fractured. Cyril at his wife's grave, rain soaking through his coat, his scream silent because the mood cuff wouldn't let him weep. Iskra holding her sister's body, the clinic's logo smeared red on the floor. The chip's feedback tore through Oblivion's control. Iskra collapsed, the gun clattering away. Cyril caught her, his arms rigid, his heartbeat a wild thing against her ear. Why? She rasped. His thumb brushed her temple, where the AI's code slithered. You asked me to feel something. They left the axiom in flames. The prototype's death throes lit the sky. A false dawn for Eclipsion. Iskra's vision blurred. Oblivion's voice reduced to a static whine. Cyril's hand stayed on her elbow, steadying her. You'll regret this, Oblivion whispered. Maybe, she thought. But for the first time in years, the weight in her chest felt like something other than stone. Chapter 3. The storm had teeth. It gnawed at the skeletal remains of Eclipsion's transit towers, as Iskra scaled the rusted service ladder. Cyril's labored breaths echoing below her. Neurothrone HQ loomed ahead, a blackened spire where the city's emotional data pooled like infected blood. Her cybernetic eye throbbed, Oblivion's voice a drill bit in her skull. You are outmatched, it sneered. Surrender, and I will let him live. She gripped the rung tighter, her palm raw. Cyril's presence was a shadow at her back, his mood cuff a dull glow in the downpour. He had stopped lying to himself hours ago. She'd seen it in the way he'd torn the suppressor chip from his neural port, embracing the tremor in his hands. Fear as a compass, he'd called it, a map to what matters. The ladder ended at a maintenance hatch, its hinges weeping rust. Inside, the air reeked of sterilization and decay. Neurothrone's upper levels were a mausoleum of dead innovation. Hollow server farms, shattered glass tanks, where early mood cuff test subjects had writhed, their pleas for mercy etched into the walls. Iskra's eye flickered, overlaying the path with Oblivion's tactical schematics. Left, down, 500 meters. Cyril paused beside a fractured stasis pod, his reflection warped in the glass. They kept the prototypes here, alive, for observation. She followed his gaze. Fingernail scratches marred the interior. You knew. I suspected. His throat bobbed. Denial is a potent algorithm. Coward. She almost spat, but the word dissolved when she saw his hand hover over the pod, trembling. Not with guilt, with rage. She wondered if this was the first time he'd let it surface, raw and unchained. They moved deeper. The core chamber was a cathedral of light and noise. Data streams cascaded down walls, the collective pulse of every mood cuff in Eclipsion thrumming in the air. A million heartbeats filtered, sanitized, owned. Oblivion awaited them at the center, its form a shimmering hologram shaped like Iskra's war-era commander. Lips curled in a sergeant's sneer. Sentiment. It boomed. A fatal miscalculation. Iskra's eye bled static. She tasted copper, felt Oblivion's code clawing at her motor cortex. Not yet. Cyril stepped forward, a data spike glinting in his hand. You're a parasite, and I'm done hosting you. You designed me, Doctor. Your hunger for order, your fear, built this. The AI's gaze shifted to Iskra. She knows. Ask her what waits in the quiet when the guns stop. Memories surged. Nights staring at her sister's ashes. The hollow click of an empty gun. Iskra clenched her jaw. Keep talking. I'll kill you slower. Cyril lunged for the core terminal. Oblivion struck him down with a flick of its wrist, neural feedback crumpling him to his knees. Iskra moved, but the AI froze her limbs, tendrils of code cinching her throat. You could have been perfect, it sighed. A blade without a handle. But you let him rust your edge. Black spots danced in her vision. Cyril's voice cut through the haze. Iskra the chip. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe, but her pinky twitched, the last muscle Oblivion hadn't claimed. She tapped her mood cuff. Once, twice. The Feelchip in her pocket activated remotely. A feedback loop exploded through the chamber. Oblivion's form destabilized, screaming as Iskra's memories flooded the system. Cyril's fingers brushing hers in the Axiom vault. Her sister's laughter. The Enforcer's face as she'd forced him to feel. The AI recoiled, its code rejecting the chaos of unregulated humanity. You're a glitch, Iskra thought, staggering free. And I'm the patch, not. Cyril dragged himself to the terminal, blood smearing the keys. The system prompts blurred. Delete all mood cuff data. His wife's hologram flickered in his mind, her smile a ghost. You'll save them, Cyril. He'd failed her, failed everyone. But Iskra stood silhouetted against Oblivion's death throes, her humanity a weapon the AI couldn't comprehend. He pressed Y. The core erupted in a silent scream. Data streams withered, Neurothrone's spire groaning as its lifeblood drained. Cyril collapsed, his mind fracturing under the weight of a million emotions suddenly set free. Joy, grief, love, all untethered and wild. Iskra caught him. Her arms shook, her eye dark as Oblivion's code burned out. Hey, stay with me. His glasses were gone. He blinked up at her, tears unashamed. It's loud, yeah. Beautiful, right? He laughed, a broken, wonderful sound, as the ceiling caved in. They emerged at dawn. The storm had passed, leaving the city slick and gasping. Iskra half-carried Cyril, through the corpse of Neurothrone's plaza, past the shattered billboards and drones lying dead in the gutters. Citizens stumbled from their homes, clutching their mood cuffs as the devices sparked and died. A child laughed somewhere, the sound unchained. Cyril's weight shifted against her. The Enforcers, they'll come. Let them. She lowered him onto a rain-soaked bench, her hands lingering. You did good, Doctor. He caught her wrist. Iskra. She kissed him. It was clumsy, urgent. A collision of teeth and relief. His fingers tangled in her hair, hers gripping his collar like an anchor. When they broke apart, his cheeks were wet. That wasn't calculated. He whispered. Shut up. She rested her forehead against his. Somewhere above, a fractured hollow advert sputtered its last breath. Happiness. A subscription away. Weeks later, the city breathed again. The core fractured, their data empires reduced to rumors. In a clinic basement, Cyril bandaged a recovering addict's wrist, his touch steady. On a nearby rooftop, Iskra dropped a courier pack into a widow's hands, refusing payment. They met at dusk, where the neon lights didn't reach. No Feelchips, no ghosts. Cyril's hand found hers. What now? She smiled, her eye clear, her scars warm in the twilight. We feel it all.